For the record, I do not taxidermy pets. So don't call me for that. I'm ready. Here we go. I'm Becca Barnet of Sisal Creative, and I'm here to tell you that there's more than one way to skin a cat, especially if that cat is your ultimate dream job, which lands on your lap way before you're ready for it. But we'll get to that in a second. I'm from Spartanburg, like Tim said, and I graduated from the Rhode Island School of Design in 2009 with a BFA in illustration, which means I learned how to make art for other people for 4 years. Here I am at the American Museum of Natural History. I moved to New York in 2009 and worked there creating traveling exhibits for them. So that meant I sculpted everything from fake plants to dinosaurs, and here I am being a Jurassic dentist. In 2011, I moved to Charleston. I was really done with New York and formed Sisal Creative, and since then we've been making things like some art for the Sea Turtle Aquarium Hospital thing, and I was the lead fabricator on the Madagascar exhibit there. So the dream job that I'm here to talk about tonight is the renovation of the Natural History Gallery at the Charleston Museum. I don't know how many of you have been there, but it was in dire need of some renovations and redos. The gallery hadn't been touched since the 60s, and everything was just piled together. So the first thing that came to my mind when I saw it in high school was, wow, there's no story here. Everything's just all lumped together. This is what the gallery looks like today after 2.5 years of blood, sweat, and tears. Thanks. So it's open now if you guys want to go check it out. But I wanted to talk to you about the process of that. So the most important thing to me was thinking about what's the story here that needs to be told. So the first thing I did was, when I moved here in 2011, was I beat down the door at the Charleston Museum, and I was like, can I please help you guys do anything at all? And they didn't have a lot of work for me at the time, but in 2014, they gave me a call and asked if I wanted to renovate the entire Natural History Gallery. And after I cleaned up peeing my pants, I said yes. And my most favorite thing about this new gallery is the fact that I got to work closely with the curators and actually tell a story of the Lowcountry. So one of my favorite things was working with colors, textures, how people move through the exhibit, user interface, user experience. The first thing I did when I got this job was I made a model. Models are really important because a lot of people don't know that you need them, but you really need them. This was the first time the client actually saw the gallery and thought, whoa, this is a real thing. People will actually move through these walls. So when I'm designing the model, I was thinking, how are people going to view these specimens? Each specimen needs to have its own special moment, its own highlighted superstar extravaganza. I wanted nothing to be left unturned. So the model was really important in showing that kind of variation as you walk through the space, and it was a great way to let the client understand that. The first thing that happens when you design an exhibit is a lot of sketching, tons and tons of drawing so that you can see how spatial relations work, you can see the vibe of the exhibit, and then those sketches then turn into renderings, which kind of help the client understand the, I guess, like the trajectory of like the way things are gonna look when things are actually built. So I was so lucky. I found the perfect employee. Her name's Kaylee Hastings. Big shout out to Kaylee. She was a landscape architect in one life and now knows how to do CAD and SketchUp and Illustrator. So with my artistic inclinations and her really awesome skills at CAD and Illustrator, we were able to provide really awesome drawings for Technical Theater Solutions, which is now TTS Studios. They created this exhibit for us. So it was from like rough renderings to really nice construction drawings, and we were fortunate enough to work with them, and they were able to make everything for us. The last couple slides that you've seen have been sketches, renderings, and construction drawings for what you see here, which is we're referring to as the Bean, which is one of the bird islands. This is the marsh environment, and my favorite part of it is that the specimens really pop off of the background because they're in a monochromatic environment on a monochromatic base, and they're just really able to shine. One of the other really awesome aspects that I was really excited about was they also wanted me to draw all the extinct animals. So you're looking at a tiny fossil of something that you have no idea what it looks like, and I got to render about 100 extinct animals, which was really cool. And I used my iPad and the program Procreate, which is really cool, and the Apple Pencil. Here's a shot of the way that the graphics interacted. We worked really hard with the museum's graphic designer, Sean Money. Also, shout out to Sean Money because he's amazing. But he was able to take all the text that the curators wrote and work with our graphics and put it into this beautiful, cohesive exhibit. The other half of this project, which is really also crazy, and keep in mind this started in 2014, so it's been a while. This is an old diorama from the old Natural History Gallery. And a lot of the specimens there had deteriorated due to exposure to humidity, climate not being controlled. The dioramas were kind of crackling. You're fighting against the elements with taxidermy. There's a large chance that anything from the 1900s is going to have dermestid beetles in it. It's no fault of the museums. It's just kind of how things go over time. So we were charged with cleaning and painting and resculpting and refurbishing over 150 mounts for this new exhibit, which was really awesome. Here you can see a before and after of the raccoon. The after is on the bottom. He's super adorable, and he's still in the exhibit. But as you can see, like the UV light really deteriorates the color on these guys, and they just were all kind of looking a little bit dusty, a little bit sad, and it was so awesome to get my hands on things like the Carolina parakeet, the passenger pigeon, and the ivory-billed woodpecker, which are all extinct. Those are located in that little case to the left there, and then these are some of the mammals that we renovated in the new display. This is my dream. This is amazing. I'm so excited about this. Like every time I look at it, I'm like, what? Okay, so anyway, I'm out of time almost, but one of my favorite things about the design that the curators actually let us go for, which is so exciting, was we got to use really cool little tiny details. This is an example of one of the cases, and behind the specimens is an illustration by Ernst Haeckel. He was an Austrian illustrator, and he illustrated the entire specimen, so we overlaid a lot of his drawings behind the little tiny fragments of specimens so that you could kind of get a very subtle visual representation of what you were actually looking at. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and check out the Charleston Museum. Thanks.